photo. I've been away for 7 months. Hard out filming the Book of Boba. Ooh, fight scenes, makeup. The one thing I've really missed is this hidden gem. Here in my hometown, Rotorua. The Polynesian spa. Come on, New Zealand, try something new. There are no words.
You know, I rode roller coasters from California to Alabama, but I still haven't found a ride that could rock my shit. Whee! Well,
Partying is cool. Dying is not.
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
What is up, Bombad fam? Welcome back to another Bombad Thursday. Here we are. It's another Book of Bombad episode. Guys, we're going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 2, Tribes of Tatooine. But before we do that, I need to talk to you guys. Hey, what's up, everyone in the chat? What's up? It's good to see you guys. Listen, we need to talk about all of the things that we have going on here on the Bombadcast YouTube channel. We have on Mondays now at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then you can do the math for the rest of the times. Hyperfocus with moi. Listen, it's a little show where I sit down with any number of people from the Star Wars podcasting YouTube community and talk about something other than Star Wars, maybe whatever they really want to. It's a fun time. We can talk about Star Wars. We don't have to. It's one of my favorite shows to do. Besides Bombadcast, and I think the only show I do besides Bombadcast, but that's not the point. Listen, we also have a wonderful show hosted by my Bombad buddy, Scotty Jero. Every Wednesday, we have Bombad Gaming. There it is. Guys, I think Scotty was playing Wii Sports this week, and I mean, you gotta check that out. Come on. Scotty sits down, he'll play any number of games. He's played Wii games, he's played, classic, retro games and stuff like that. But whatever he plays, it's always a blast. Sit down, strap in, check out my buddy Scotty every Wednesday night, I believe at 8 p.m. as well. Scotty, I believe you can tell me that when you come in here. But you know what? Every Thursday, speaking of my boy Scotty, we have the Bombadcast. It's a little show that started everything. Yeah, listen. Yeah, I do not want to undersell that Scotty went pro on Wii Sports. That is, I don't know. We'll bring the champ in here in a second and congratulate him. But listen, the Bombadcast, you're here. This is the main show, our flagship. This is the one that started it all. And without any further ado, I miss my boy. Let's bring him in. Scotty, what are you doing, buddy?
You know what I'm doing? I'm living my best life right now.
Are you living it?
So much Boba Fett to talk about right now. And we're just
So much
letting our
goodness.
guests wait. Why are we doing this? They're the ones we got on for this reason. We want to
Because-
make sure they get their thoughts in. It's beautiful. Everyone's got a
It is
recap
beautiful.
show, but I think it's so weird. It's like everyone has their own individual thoughts. I listen to Four
Right.
Sinners today. I've been talking to Pete and Nick and you these past couple of days talking about that. It's me and Eric watched it twice. It's just like one after another.
I
It's
watched
like,
it twice today
oh.
before coming on. You're right.
Yes.
Like it's yeah.
Let's get it
There's so
going.
much to unpack. Let's get
There's
it
so
going.
much.
There's
I want to bring
listen,
him in first. Can I bring him in first?
Let's bring in him.
Wonderful soul from Pink Milk. Wonderful soul. Em, what's going on? It appears. Em, wait a minute.
Oh no,
I don't know.
I think you're muted.
It's okay. Let's see.
I fixed it.
There we
All
go.
right.
2-6.
All
Hey,
right.
everybody.
We didn't
Sorry
play your
about
intro video, Em. Hold on. I got to get your intro
that. Okay,
video
see, you
in.
threw me
Oh, no,
off. This
see,
is why
this
I
is what
still had
pre-
my
this is-
button
I
on.
threw her off.
Hey, mate, who invited you here?
Who invited you?
It's all about pre-production, Scotty. It's all about pre-production.
Oh, man. Em, what's going on?
I'm okay. My family has COVID. I have COVID.
Oh, no.
So
Oh,
it's
so you're
okay
stuck.
though. We all got vaccinated. So it's
There we
not
go.
nearly as bad as it could have been. So
Heck yeah. Get
That's
back.
We're
Get
just-
boosted.
quarantining like responsible people. We have literally not left our house in 6 days. So
That's awesome.
wow.
See, some people don't commit to the bit. It's not a bit. It's a real thing.
Commit to the
Some people don't commit
Scotty.
though. I know for a fact. I know people in my life that are like, "Yeah, I got it, but I had to go to Walmart," and I'm like, "No,
Yeah. I think we have.
delivery."
Listen. Don't listen to Scotty. I think we actually have video right here of Scotty at a teachers meeting at school recently.
Your children and your children's children will be subjugated. They will be asked, have you been a good little Nazi? Hail Fauci!
Perhaps you remember your first edible. The recount to take us off the air tonight. That is our broadcast.
It was not ready for that
Delightful.
energy. She was not
Yeah.
ready for that. That was amazing.
that was
Oh,
delightful.
Tim, I need you to plug something, okay? If you can right now. You are a part of the Pink Milk podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. It's all about representation of the LGBTQ community. And y'all have been on this amazing campaign. And it's been getting a lot of traction, articles being written about it. Y'all are are y'all the founders of Blackout Stars Eclipse? Am I assuming that wrong, or am I assuming correctly?
It was a collaborative effort.
Okay.
So, yeah, we were all doing our usual Friday night live stream. And, we had our Steam Queens in our chat room that we call the Steam Room.
Hell yeah.
And we were talking about the game and about the issues with the studio that was going to be working on the game. And so we all came up with Blackout Star Wars Eclipse.
Yep.
Yeah, it was all of us together. I mean, Brian was the first one to actually say it.
Yeah.
But he insists that it was sort of, it all came together. It was like a magic moment of like everybody
Yeah.
who was in the chat room and us together talking. And that was just kind of what popped into his head. So-
Well, it's been
Absolutely.
working.
You had your lizard vision quest.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
Let's be fair.
it came to.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. It was very spiritual. Yeah. So, I mean, do you want me to talk a bit more about the campaign?
Sure.
Yes,
Do you mind
please.
if we bring Alden in just real quick? so we can-
Absolutely. Do
Because
not
Alden
leave,
always has thoughts.
do
Always
not
has
leave
thoughts.
Alden out in the cold, please.
Here we
Brian.
go. There he
Not at
is. I gotta
all.
play
What's
the
up?
video. Gotta play the video.
Hey, mate, who invited you here?
Now I feel welcomed. Now I feel good.
Honestly, that is a reasonable question to ask of someone who's holding a saxophone.
That's true. Hey,
It's true.
What are you doing here?
I mean, if someone just showed up right now with a sax, I'd probably ask the same question. So that's
Hey,
very valid.
Exactly.
hey, mate.
You know,
Yeah,
at this
and,
point,
uh,
I don't know.
Yeah, while I was in the waiting room backstage, I was filling out a panel application for Star Wars Celebration. It's just going to be
Oh.
Wii Sports.
yes.
It's just going
Yes.
to be a Wii Sports.
We
Yes!
Because
Because I was a pro bowler. on Wii Sports.
Really?
I had a
Nice.
Well,
sparkly ball and everything.
Yes, you do. In tennis, you don't get anything. But let's get back to the lecture at hand. I had asked you about something very important, and here we are just talking over it. Tell us about Blackout Stars Eclipse, please, because tomorrow you'll have a big push, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so we're going to be pushing the hashtag again tomorrow. We had a really successful campaign on December 17th where we were trending for several hours and we got some attention from some pretty high profile people. So
Seemed like it.
the campaign is related to the Star Wars Eclipse video game, which we were super excited about while we watched the trailer, and then the logo for Quantic Dream came up, and it was not a good feeling. It's a complicated intersection of reasons why we have these objections to Quantic Dream being the studio to build the game. I mean, most specifically, they don't have the best history of having a good relationship with the LGBTQ community or with other marginalized identities, and they don't have a great history of writing respectful roles for women or other marginalized groups, but especially women, into their games and their content. So it's both the behavior of the people at the studio and the content that the studio produces that we have an issue with. And we're not trying to get the game canceled. Like, there's been a lot of talk about how this is like cancel culture or whatever, but we really just want we want the property to be given to a studio that has a better track record of representation, or that has that representation in their workforce and is known to be supportive. Like BioWare, for example, that has been very supportive of representing, or Ubisoft. I mean, Ubisoft has its own labor issues, but that aside, the representation of like queer and trans and gender nonconforming individuals in their games is historically much more positive than Quantic Dream has ever even attempted. So, like Blackout Star Wars Eclipse is just about bringing awareness to the fact that this probably isn't the best fit. And especially considering that this is supposed to take place during the High Republic, and the content that we've gotten from Star Wars in canon about the High Republic has shown such a diverse cast of characters and people of so many different, like just everywhere on the spectrum, and like queer representation and sort of gender variance and all of that stuff, that we feel like it's just a poor fit. It's like, why would you take this one era of Star Wars that has more marginalized representation of any aspect of the Star Wars timeline and give it to this entity that has consistently, lacked support for those groups?
And the best thing, and I'll say this, it might sound a little, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's like when you have a hashtag campaign, it's not like you're begging for something from them, right? You're just making aware of a situation. Like, there's some hashtags, and I'm not calling anyone out, but some of them are more like, give us this. Whereas you and what you represent and the group that you belong to, and of course Pink Milk in general, I mean, it's more or less like, these people are not good people, and they shouldn't be making games about things that obviously we are passionate about. High Republic is huge right now. And not only is it huge, but as you said, it makes so much representation for people that are not represented in Star Wars. Hopefully that'll change on the big screen. But here we are, and it's books and comics and audiobooks, and a video game is going to come out, and it's by a bunch of assholes, and that's just not right. And really, it isn't. Yeah. It's not fair. You want to add anything to that, to Alden? I know you're a man of many thoughts, and I mean it. Like, I know how you feel, and I know how Jerry feels about it. But
I mean, I've been known to have a thought or two every now and then. I think that it's important, obviously, for me to come out, like, Tori and I on Octo, we just recorded our episode about this Boba Fett episode we're talking about tonight, and it's important, when you're not part of that community, that's not your lived experience, to put out sort of, I think, that message first of, I'm a cishet male, white passing, even though I am Puerto Rican, but I have the experience of a cishet white guy. And so with that said, though, to see sort of like how Star Wars has always catered to us, I think I speak for you as well, Jerry, and you as well, Scott.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
it has always been over backwards and just been handed to us on a silver platter for over 40 years. And the fact that it takes these positive steps forward, like in the High Republic, and like with the Acolyte also being affiliated with that era and having a non-binary performer being floated for the lead role, and just Deborah Chow taking over Kenobi, like all these representation firsts and steps. But then you have not just somebody that has had bad business practices, not just somebody that has maybe affiliated themselves with a controversial story. It's not like there was homophobia in a Quantic Dream game story. The man himself has said heinous, horrible things.
Yes.
And any level of this would be bad, but this is like unequivocally, factually awful. The man's been to court for various reasons. There's racism involved with the company. At the end of the day, when you remove all of us and our podcast from the equation, these are stories that kids are going to look to, and those kids are supposed to be the ones making the world where we don't have to deal with this, and they can't do that if they don't have the tools. You know,
that's well said.
If they end up with more of these, you know, like you said, assholes, then and it's not up for debate. And I'll be the one that says that. If don't tweet hate to anyone else on the show. If you want to tweet hate to me, because I'll embarrass you. It's not up for debate. These are the values of Star Wars. It's not my read on Star Wars. It's not me reaching. It's not Disney Star Wars. It's Star Wars. Star Wars is left leaning and it wants to represent everybody. That's what it
should.
is.
100% should,
it should be for everyone, even though that's what they said. Make it feel like it is for everyone, for sure.
Yes.
Very well done. Thank you so much for saying that. And just one more time, what time is the actual drop for? And I'll pull the hashtag up again for people that want to post it. What is the actual drop time for all of that? Because I'm gonna have a bunch loaded this evening when I go to bed.
Oh, okay. So do Friday starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay. So 8:30 Central. All right.
You heard it, troops. You heard it. Let's get it going.
And it's the thing is, it's like, yes, you want to make it, obviously known, but the thing is, it's not. I don't know. To me, it's like, have it ready, be prepared for it. But we're ultimately doing a good thing. It's not needy. It's not something that should be done, for a strict desire to be popular. You're literally doing it because it's something that has to be done. Like,
it's common human decency is what it is. Is the name of the game. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's just have common human decency. That's all.
Exactly.
That's my thing.
About being decent, and like you said, Scotty, it's not about asking for anything. It's and like you said, and like people will throw like it's cancel culture. Cancel culture is not real.
No, it's not.
It's called accountability. Cancel culture.
Yes.
It's F around and find out.
Yeah, and these are it's F around and find out, and also like these are guys that are rich in a luxury business and an entertainment business. They decide to put their foot in their mouths and say these things. They can pay for it, just like any of us would.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. That was awesome. Well, I guess it's time to get into the meat potatoes of this whole event. And we'll plug that, of course, at the very end, Blackout, Star Wars, Eclipse. But are y'all ready to talk about Boba Fett? Who's ready to talk about Boba Fett?
Oh,
Here we go.
Yeah.
Bring us
I'm
in,
ready to
Tim.
talk about our short king.
Bring us in, Tim.
Hello, welcome to the Tim Show. I'm Tim Wetter Morrison. Now, each week I invite a couple of buddies over to have a bit of a cordial. We have a bit of a sing-song, and I show them some of my postcards from Hollywood. Ooh, and they're looking pretty flash too. I visit the whānau in New Zealand and around the globe, and I even score some A-listers. Now, this week we've got a Tim Show special, Episode 3, Involvement of the Kiwis. I'm talking Star Wars. We find out how they make us clones. And I catch up with Rena Owen and talk to the producer, Rick McCullum, and talk to the big guy, George Lucas. So, lightsabers on!
That's right. Lightsabers on.
What is the Bombadcast if not a bit of a cordiddle? That's what
I have one question about that clip.
Okay.
Can I get the Zabrak's phone number?
Oh shit!
That's amazing. Yo, maybe it's from 2004, I think, or 05. So
It's fine.
Probably
dated.
still
aged.
bracking around or whatever.
and it's gonna have a plus sign in front of it and a bunch of other spaces that I still can't figure that out. With European numbers and I guess New Zealand numbers too. Those are very strange to me. But
what a stacked episode he had that day, though. He had Rick McCallum and George Lucas.
Unreal.
It's like
and Captain Typho's playing saxophone in his lobby right there. Like anyway, go on.
It's just incredible. It's just incredible. I can't believe that ever existed. That's it's the way he's so casual about it. Like, maybe I'll get some A-listers. It's like,
oh man, his energy. Oh, I want that for the rest of my life. Like I want if I have a bit of that energy, I think I'll be doing okay.
You'll be
All
great.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, and look who popped by. There we
Ryan,
go.
what's
hey,
up?
Alden. Alden, speak. Yeah,
Dad.
speak your piece, Alden. You have a chance right now before we get into the conversation.
Look, I've
You
said
gotta
this
say it.
before. I've said it on Twitter. I don't think people took me seriously enough. When I say that I want Brian and Tom Barry to adopt me, I mean it. I want them to be my fathers. This is not a joke. I don't have a dad. I want to be a Barry. Make Alden a Barry.
Hashtag make Alden a Barry.
Scotty, do we have like a Sarah McLachlan song to start playing in the middle of his little
not
thing
yet.
there or something? Like,
We'll write one.
For just 5 cents a day, you can
The
sponsor Alden.
arms of angels.
Oh man, that's great. And I also want to say this: we have so many people in the chat tonight. I gotta give a couple of shout outs.
Oh man,
We've got
so good.
Nick Milky. Oh, what a good person. Michael, Alex Corey, Pete from around the galaxy. We even got Reagan. What? We got Seth Parnell. We got Boop. We got, let's see, I saw someone else in here that I don't see often. Who
I
else
saw
is it?
Bill.
Shinobi. What? We got some Baraxium love in here.
Tommy?
So awesome. So awesome. And a galaxy. Great. This is just fantastic. And Bill Sheehy. I'm blown away. This
Who's
is
that?
Amazing.
No,
Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. It's confirmed. It's confirmed.
Oh, guys. Oh man. Alden,
You've
how
seen
you
it here
feeling,
first.
man?
I feel good. I feel fulfilled.
They're gonna
Good.
add you to the chore wheel.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, they work. Those
I'm
guys,
grown.
they work their kids hard. No, sorry.
Perfect.
If you're a Barry, you got to contribute to the house. They clean the house from top to bottom every week. They just adopted a new dog. You're gonna have to take the dog for walks.
Oh,
You're on the chore wheel
yes!
now.
For sure.
Yes.
I'm all about it. I'll claim all the dog ones.
What's your favorite
Take
chore,
all the
Alden?
dogs.
What's my favorite chore?
Yeah, what's the one you don't mind doing?
You guys all came here to talk about Bombadcast, but we want to know what your favorite chore is.
I honestly
Or talking
think-
about Book of Boba Fett.
I don't know if this excluding dog stuff because I love I'm a dog dad. Excluding
Yes.
that, I will say I'm not opposed to dishes.
Oh, I like dishes too. I don't know why. Always
Listen to
have.
some music while you're doing them.
Yeah. Watch some Octo Radio, you know? Listen to some
Yeah,
Octo Radio.
watch some.
Hell yeah. Listen to the dulcet tones of my voice.
Yes, fall
Hell
asleep
yeah,
while you
man.
do dishes.
You know,
Just kidding.
Scotty may have went pro in Wii Sports, but man, you just went pro with like you just went pro with a family. Okay, like you are a pro child now. Right?
That's right.
Look at
Scotty, I
this.
forgot about this too. So
Yes,
apparently, yeah,
that's
Michael
true.
is our bomb bastard. So
And then we've also adopted
bastard.
Boop. We've also adopted Boop.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
man. And look,
You adopted
let's
a
talk-
problem youth.
Yes,
with Boop.
a cryptid, if you will.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, that's amazing. Alden Berry. Like a
Listen.
doo-wop singer from the 40s, and I'm feeling it. Oh my god.
Oh my
Incredible.
god, this is fantastic.
Brilliant.
I don't even want
Brilliant.
to talk about the Boba Fett episode. I want to just
We've
talk
got
about Alden's
to.
new family and everything now. So.
Oh, I didn't know this. That's cool.
Oh, but that's cool.
Well, no, Scotty.
That's cool.
God.
She's not Batman.
I had a
Cool.
student-
I don't
no,
know.
wait,
I don't know.
I gotta tell a brief
there
story.
are questions. There are
I
questions.
teach genetics every year and at the school I work at, and it's 7th grade standard. So when I teach, and I'm like, all right, think about your parents' eye color, think about their hair color, and one kid, and I felt so bad. And I just like, because sometimes you don't get the
No.
paperwork on kids that have been adopted, and they and one kid, and honestly, most kids at my school that are adopted are very open about it. It's not something that's like really hush hush, and they're like actually kind of funny about it. One kid's like, I can't do that. I'm like, well, why? And I don't know why I even thought.
Walked right into
it. Walked right. He goes, well, I don't know who my parents are. I'm like, oh, damn it, Scott. What the hell's wrong with you?
So you went up to him, you sat next to his desk, and you said, Metachlorians are the. You took a whole sales. We could do a special genetic lessons for you.
Yes, if we're talking Star Wars here. Okay, we're 25 minutes in. We haven't even mentioned the name Boba Fett. Okay.
We have.
Now-
We just haven't talked about his
We
episode.
just haven't talked about it. We mentioned Tim a lot. So I guess let's start to get into the nitty gritty. Obviously, we all have thoughts on the first episode. We shared them last week. I'm sure a lot of you on your shows did too. How do y'all feel it bridged? Do you think it bridged a gap? Like, do you think from episode 1 to episode 2, was there like did it feel like more of a satisfying arc after seeing both put together? Really, at least it did for me. I kind of felt that way, honestly. Anyone else here?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I felt like it was sort of like a film, you know. like it just, I mean, everyone knows that like the first episode was kind of slow.
Yeah, sure. I don't blame you for feeling that way. I completely understand that.
I mean, I feel so bad. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I'm usually not like unilaterally negative about anything Star Wars. So like that was trashing to me.
Sure, of course.
Oh,
But I mean,
yeah.
I think in the sense of like, at least for me personally, whenever I watched it, I was like, okay, it gave me the setup. I was hoping for a little resolve, but obviously with what we have now, this second episode, I feel like it just laid every conflict out, at least for the gangster story. Because I'm thinking, where's the gangster story going? The Tusken story is brilliant. Some of the best Star Wars storytelling I've seen in years. And the gangster story was what needed some love, and we got some love. It got
a little love today. Yeah. Yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday.
Just a little bit.
It gets so blurry. Alden, what do you think? Do you think it kind of benefited from each other, or do you think they kind of both work on their own?
I liked one, I think, a lot more than a lot of people did.
Sure.
But I agreed with the fact that it was slow. It's unequivocally slow, especially, with the with what you expect from Rodriguez, what you expect from Favreau, what you expect from Boba Fett.
Right.
So it was slowed down, which I appreciated, but this one was sort of the perfect balance. And Tori's on screen right now. Tori and I were talking about the balance of pace in this episode. It's lightning quick when it needs to be quick. So it starts, we have a prisoner, he's not talking, go to the mayor, go here, go there, boom, 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 boom. New characters, big characters, Hutz, Black Chrysanthemum. Like that happens in like 5 minutes. But
it's amazing.
Also super methodical and slow when it needs to be. Forging the gaffy stick, all of this stuff, peyote lizard, like it is so, which is just canon.
I bless you, peyote lizard. Yes,
peyote lizard.
Until Pablo and Kristen Baver and all them give me a name, it's peyote lizard.
Peyote lizard.
Sometimes I write it lizard with like 5 Z's.
Lizard.
Lizard.
And they put an apostrophe in the middle of the Zeds.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a lizard.
Maybe a hyphen. Who knows? I don't know.
A lizard.
We'll see.
And it's
Lizard.
It's just like you just feel like you're on like exactly where you need to be at all times. It's masterfully directed. Shout out to Steph Green, who's not new to TV, not new to directing, but new to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it was like just fit so perfectly, so effortlessly.
Oh man.
Just knocked it out of the park.
It was wild. And there was a couple of scenes in there, like you said, those first 15 minutes, Rancor tease. You even get, the Ithorian mayor. You get some weird bureaucratic mess between the mayor and the major domo and the guy at the front desk. Like the humor was crazy. It was
the guy
wild.
at the front desk. The guy at the front desk with the mustache and the mullet, like one of my new favorite people ever in Star Wars.
It's really
he goes,
funny.
You have an
Boba Fett. It's like if I was in Star Wars. Let me see.
The moment when the major domo takes over and the guy's like, no, okay. And he
I
laughed so hard. That is such
amazing.
a good little acting choice.
Okay.
It killed me.
I'm telling you.
It's immediate. How many times a day does that happen?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's amazing. It's just small stuff like that I felt like the chemistry between certain characters, the major domo, just still being like, we didn't realize you were going to be here. So sorry. You can't see the mayor. And then hit the button and walks in. I was like, that's
this
amazing.
is actually off limits. Like,
yes.
like
this is
just behind the desk.
Like,
it just worked.
I used to say that director Krennic was the greatest example of middle management in Star Wars. But this guy is honestly
this guy
in
it.
Middle management.
True.
Oh,
it's true.
And like, and obviously it's so weird because then the mayor's like, I don't know who sent them. Go talk to go to the sanctuary. And what's her name? Who's Jennifer Beals' character? I forget her name.
Madame Garza.
Yeah, go talk to Madame Garza. And he walks he walks in there. He's like, and then of course she's even an asshole. She's like, "Do you want to go sit in the bar while we have a table open?" I'm like, "What is happening?" Like,
well, I love
this
how
is
they're
so
like
weird.
I think they
don't take him
thought that he was
serious.
gonna be dead or something too.
Yes,
They're like, oh, he's still alive.
He's still alive. Yeah. And then you're sweating more than something on Mustafar. I forget the exact
I think it's a Gumpta.
Yeah, Gupta. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, it's just like I think you're onto something with the whole they thought he was going to be dead. They are so you could tell in the first episode it was a culture shock. Like Boba Fett being like, "I walk on my own 2 feet." They're like, "All right, that's a little weird for."
Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, I didn't hear your litter coming."
Daimyo.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And now, for a second time, it's like he's still walking around this town, like trying to talk to us. Like, what is he doing?
hell is this guy
Like,
think
you don't
he
do
is?
that. And then that little bit of the twins, like the twins have laid siege to their cousin Jabba's territory. The second she said that, my heart started racing because I was like, "Huts? We're gonna see them?" Like I
didn't think we'd
out.
see them today or Wednesday. I didn't think we'd see them
yeah.
then.
Oh, yeah,
I was
like maybe
thinking
you didn't think
later.
we'd see them 30 seconds after she
literally.
said that, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
drums. Oh, how awesome was that slow drum? Boom, boom, boom. Just so there's so much like anticipation
they got
and so much just
hamsters.
like dread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. With these
man.
little.
And the
Yeah.
crazy
With like the
part
little
too is
they
I
had a
don't know
little
if
like
y'all noticed,
snorks thing going on.
the
top of his head.
Gamorreans
Sorry.
noticed first. They were like, "Uh-oh." You could tell they were like, "We know
Yeah,
who
they're like,
that is." That was awesome.
They're here. They're here.
They're here. And then when they went outside and when they turned that corner, I was like, I couldn't believe it. They would be like wrapped up in each other. I'm like, that's so weird and gross and hot.
Did anyone else think that they were conjoined twins at the very beginning?
I did not know.
I did for a minute, and I looked for their tails to make sure that they had separate
tail
tails.
tracking.
The first time, well, it was 3 a.m. when I watched it the first time, so I was a little on the lizard peyote of just sleep
feel that.
deprivation at that time. So
But
I think I dreamed a lot of things about this episode.
Yep. God, it was so well done. And
so
what's that comment here? Oh yeah, are they Zero's children? I actually said that to Tori today because they're Jabba's cousins. And Zero's his uncle, and
Uncle
they seem
Zero.
a little bit. You know, he says, "I thought they'd be doing." Yeah. Probably
Oh,
grandchildren. That's true.
They're too involved with the debauchery of Hutta.
On Hutta. Yeah.
Yes.
These are the
I want
younger Hutts and
I'm telling you.
If we see Nal Hutta in
it's gonna
live
be insane.
action,
oh man, I'll be so
I don't
happy.
know if I may die. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it I cannot.
Now
Sorry,
Hutta,
I don't know. I feel like that would be a little bit more spicy than they're willing to show on Disney.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
You're
but if
probably
they
right.
do it, that's what I'm saying. If they do it, I'm gonna my head's gonna blow up like the guy from Scanners or something. Like, you know, like it's just gonna be.
Yeah,
it's gonna be insane.
It's
This would make Tori's day. I
Snoots,
know that.
babies.
That. Imagine if they had like snoots or something.
They have very just like Hutts with snoots.
Tori, since you're watching, as the resident creatures expert, can Size Noodles feasibly give birth to a Hutt baby? Let me know.
Whoa. Weird.
Ooh.
Who would have thought we'd had this conversation? I really mean that.
You can actually technically find out which, like, there is apparently information somewhere out there about in canon, like which species are compatible with.
Yeah, obviously we know like humans and Twi'leks.
Yeah,
well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Krollutes and humans are not.
Okay.
Yeah. I wonder if
Okay.
Umbarans and humans. That seems close enough.
I mean, basically, right? They're just very pale humans or something.
Look,
right?
what I'm getting at is I need a canon source book. I saw Kelly Knox in the chat. Kelly, you write a book about what aliens I could feasibly start a family with.
Everyone's junk. We want to know about everyone's Star Wars.
Yeah. Which puzzle pieces can make the more little puzzle pieces?
I wish this was a standard. I wish I could teach this, but I guess I can't. Oh, on it. He's on it.
Daddy wants a textbook.
He's on it.
Kelly, thank you.
I want to teach a lesson on this, Kelly. No,
It's
in
so
all
important.
seriousness, though.
Today
their
we're going to learn about the
presence-
reproductive organs of Hutts.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and the way they were like intertwined, and of course the litter and the people struggling, like that was so intense for me. And then of course the huge drop, right? You got say his name because I'm gonna mess it up. I have it written down.
Oh,
Black
Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum. Yep. What?
That
That was
chrysanthemum.
amazing. That was amazing.
Love
At
it.
least to me.
Love it.
I
I think that someone can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. So Cobb Vanth is the first novel character. Is this
Yes.
this is the first comics character, right? There's no one else?
As far as I
Ooh,
can
good
tell,
point.
in live action, like
think it
in,
is.
in anything,
So
yes.
that puts so much on the
Yes.
table. I mean, like for fans of Afra, this is that tease of like, oh, she's out there, and they're thinking about it, and they're looking at it, and super. I mean, this is like the core cast of Afra. You know,
Yeah.
Black Chrysanthemum, BT 000, and her.
Oh.
You know, so it's like, and Magna Tolvin, of course. So it's like
Yeah.
we're getting there.
Oh, I would love
Yeah,
that.
I was so happy. I was so happy to see that Wookiee. Like,
Unbelievable. And like, you know, well, Saul had his treatment, you know, Cobb Vanth had his treatment. Like,
right.
Let's get some more of that. Like, just, and it's just subtle. Like, I'd imagine Favreau didn't know who this character was, you know, and they were like, we need a guardian. We need someone that's gonna come in there and like,
Like,
be a threat to
what if
Boba.
we had a cool Wookiee or something?
Something,
you know?
something. You know, he could have even said
they're like,
Bosk, but I'm sure someone was like,
already have
actually,
one.
yes, we've
How about
got
this?
one.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is like nobody can convince me that he wrote the Marshal knowing who Cobb Vanth was. He probably says,
No.
I'm gonna have a gunslinging cowboy, and they say, actually, if you go over here. And so for him, yeah, I mean, and by the way, completely agree, best looking Wookiee, and whoever played him, the crazy eyes behind that mask.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man,
unhinged.
He did some
amazing,
like when he like does the eyebrow raise to Fett. I love that he goes, hey buddy, you know, don't make me kill you.
This is where I get my favorite line in the episode, besides like a bantha.
Oh, what's that? What's that?
These are not the slave pits of Dur, and I am the sleeping Trandoshan.
Yes!
It's like
pretty good.
It's like sets up his resume, smacks it down. Like you have to take, you can't take a guy out unless they're sleeping.
Yeah. Damn.
So good.
And I won't say what I said whenever I saw Black Chrysanthemum show up, but like because my mother is he texted me and informed me she is watching. So say hi, mom, kids.
Hey,
but
hey, Miss Cable.
Yeah, hey, Miss Cable. But I basically at 3 a.m. yelled, "Holy F!"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Loud.
I was
really
DiCaprio
loud.
meme.
I know.
Oh yeah, like holy yeah. Like it was just
By the way,
a visceral reaction seeing that, and it just like you said, like it opens up like Shelly Afra. It opens up like many doors to so many things.
Yeah,
like anything is possible.
Get Charlie Ashby out of these comments saying Ochia Bastoon. That does not count. He was in the
I can't
movie
even tell
first.
what he's typing.
Listen.
His accent's so heavy when he types.
His accent's so thick.
What's he saying about? Okay,
What's he saying?
hold on.
Listen,
I would love some Ochia Bastoon in the helmet from the I would love some Ochia Bastoon with the energy of kicking down the door saying, "I'm Ochia Bastoon." Please, I will take that in the show. Charlie, I'm with you.
Let Jerry say a story. Jerry, only if you
No,
donate
listen. I gotta be careful. My mom will ground me, guys. No.
Mrs. Cable,
Guys, I can't fuck around. Okay.
Sorry.
He did it.
Pockets down.
I'm sorry.
Get some hot
Y'all.
pockets for this man.
Well, it's funny because almost immediately after they cut, after all that exposition, and like that was enough for me to be like, well, the episode could actually end. Like literally past that point, I'm like, you've given me everything I needed from the gangster story, and the best part is it did, and it was done. And then they cut to him in the Bactapod, and then of course they did a really weird, not Star Wars, at least to me, they did that weird like his head's in one frame, but it's in the other frame,
like a
then it goes
90s
from
country
that.
music video.
Yes,
or something?
yes.
Yes.
Then it did the
Alanis
Matrix,
Morissette or
the
something,
Matrix
or whatever's
filter.
going on.
Into the Matrix filter, and then it
I
goes
love
into
that
the
fuzzy,
scene.
like
I love
Walker
it too.
Texas Ranger effect. I call it. I love
So
it.
cool.
Like, transition
Because it's like in the same way that like George, like in a lot of ways, like pioneered PowerPoint transitioning with his wife.
Yes.
Oh, the
It's like-
wipes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like what PowerPoint effect have we not? I'm waiting for spirals in a show.
like the
Stars.
Whole screen.
Or wait, how about the one that goes? Whoop?
I used to use the shit out of that one.
That one goes,
Oh.
and it like launches.
If I made
were
Star
like,
Wars, it would be a bunch of here we
Add
go.
some momentum to this PowerPoint, right? Here.
Oh, what if it did like a Batman and it like spun out really quickly?
Just like
Oh,
a
it's
Boba Fett
brilliant.
helmet. Okay, all right. Let's move on. In the weeds.
What is he saying? I can't even read this. Oh, Charlie, quit posting scoops.
Yeah,
Just
like you
stop.
were ever subscribed, liar. No,
Star Wars right leaks celebrity. Charlie
Yeah,
Ashby.
I'm glad I found that one. There he is. Wow.
all right.
So it's so weird. The last episode ended off with, you know, him obviously being accepted into the Tusken Raider tribe. And then now, you know, he's not only accepted, but he's learning from, and it's crazy. I didn't notice it till I watched it today on my off period. But like not the sun's going down, but they were doing that training all day. I didn't realize that because they had it like midday, and then of course towards the end when everyone's kind of gathered around him, it's like straight up dusk. So it's like or dawn, or I don't know which one it is.
It
Either
was
way, the
From
sun's
Dusk Till Dawn by Robert
There we go.
Rodriguez.
But man, that was so cool. I love seeing that. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know, to see Boba have to go through something that way was just brilliant. And it says a lot about his character. I mean, he's learning. He's been reborn. He's not trying to escape anymore. He's been accepted.
Right.
And their culture is just so rich. And I never knew I needed it. Honestly, I never knew I needed it. It was just amazing.
If you watch it carefully enough, you can actually see what he's doing wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
His grip is
Go on.
His hands are too close together on the stick.
Okay, is to separate it more?
And it needs to be separated more because when you have a wider base, that's
Mhm.
always that gives you more stability. If anyone's ever like studied kinesiology, like, and if you're especially with that kind of weapon, like it's going to be jarring your
Yeah.
arms as you strike.
When they're too
So
close.
if you want if you want to have a firmer grip on it,
Mhm.
you have to put your hands further apart.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
You can
Did not
see it
realize
like in the first shot when it's coming in from the side. You can see that Tim's hands are like this, and his opponent's hands are like this.
Oh,
Which
okay.
makes a lot of sense because, you know, Tori had reminded me that in the gallery for Mando Season 2, when they talk about the gaffy stick that they had given Boba, Tim says, like, I told them it would have to be a longer one to accurately represent like what happened. So it's almost like
Wow.
you purposely give Boba the wrong form. That way, by the time Mando Season 2 comes out, there's a natural learning.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
Wait a second. Twitter told me there was no plan. in Star
Wait,
Wars.
wait.
So it's interesting.
Oh,
I thought those guys knew I thought they knew their stuff, man. I don't know. Who cares?
Man.
Yeah.
Funny how that works out.
isn't that crazy? And then, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of sequence, didn't the train attack happen or no? What was next after that moment? Was it the
If
train?
they get the
Yeah,
train-
so they go on like a hunting party. They're hunting together, and then the train
Mhm.
shows up during the hunting party.
God, that was wild.
Mhm.
I didn't
It's great.
expect that. And
It's great 'cause
that's the
it's
best
like-
thing. Oh no,
Okay.
Alden, what you want to say, baby? What you want to say?
I was gonna say that it's just gonna they sort of, you are so conditioned to expect that Tatooine is just, it's some cities and then basically all Dune Sea. And there's
Mhm.
nothing technological out there. There's no civilization. So seeing a train, it's like it almost plays tricks on your brain. Like you expect it to be a crate dragon when you see something
Yep.
moving. You
Right.
expect it to be a
Oh, right.
creature. Then blaster fire starts and you're like, what the hell? Like
Mhm.
what is going on?
Why?
There's people out here. Like what's happening?
Yep.
And so it's really disorienting, and it plays so well into the George theme that's gone all the way back to really Endor of organic versus technological.
Mhm.
And even
Right,
before
right.
Endor, go back to Vader. You know, this technological terror versus the power of the Force. You know, so
Yep.
it's all of that stuff, and the fact that these people, they know, as Boba says, they know the Dune Sea, they know the sands. It's their ancestral stuff. You know, these guys. It doesn't matter about your train. It doesn't matter your technology. Like you're gonna lose. You know, because you are unnatural. You're not supposed to be
Yeah.
here. So yeah.
I love that. And something else too
So
when
good.
watching it, the entire time I'm watching the train sequence, or at least when it first passed by, that could have been in the trailers. Like, that's the kind of thing you sell these huge action set pieces with.
Right.
And I'm glad that we got to experience all that for the first time. I mean, that would have been, at least to how I think they would have marketed it, if it was a movie or if it was, something
all you
No, what do you want to say, Jerry?
No, that's all they had to do to sell it to me, man, was to have them pulling a wart out of the sand with a sand comb with a bantha. Like that. I'm sorry, no one's talking about that.
No,
that was a wart
out.
that just jumped out like a little frog dog guy. Anyway, sorry. Please.
No.
Continue with your important point that I just derailed.
What I was saying
like
is,
a train.
You're so used to
Segue.
marketing, attacking scenes like that, and it was nice not to be aware of a scene that was going to come. Like, I would have never expected when I started that episode that morning that we would have 100% had, a train sequence, number one, but also it would be a Tusken versus, Pike train, like what? All that kind of thing. Those things have all been so buried deep in this story. I don't know. It's brilliant, and that had
exactly
to be
my thoughts. Exactly.
We found
shit. Thoughts exactly.
We found shit.
there were those two Spaceballs troops at Celebration Chicago.
Oh, really?
With the comb,
right?
And
brilliant.
It killed me. It's so
that's
good.
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm just happy right now at this point in the story where we really don't know what to expect. Obviously, there's still some stuff in the trailers that we haven't gotten, but the Pikes showing up and then their faces were revealed for the first time in live action, and I'm sure some people aren't happy with it, but I mean, it's a lot like Boba's dreams. It's like it's all up for interpretation, really. I mean, it's up to the people making it.
I was over the moon when they took.
Me too.
Off. Like, I saw a couple with the masks off, and I mean, like, do I wish maybe they had they have a tiny little nose in the in the Clone Wars?
Yeah,
little button nose on them.
Longer tendrils.
But I don't care. I mean, like, it still was so cool to actually see, because like they've been behind the mask, and so I was excited they were in Solo, but to actually see the face was just so cool.
Also, this to me falls in the category of Ahsoka's Montrals in Mandalorian, where it's like, look, I'm gonna say this as kindly as I can.
Yeah, bring him up large. Bring him up large. Come on.
Bring it big. Thank you.
Come on, bring it big. Bring it big.
If you track the appearance of Saw Gerrera from Clone Wars to chronologically through Fallen Order into Rebels to Rogue One, not one of those looks like the same man. Not one. Not one looks like the same man. They are completely different looking guys. Oh, and Bad Batch as well. Bad Batch.
Yep.
Saw Gerrera has looked 5 different ways. Look at anyone in Clone Wars that was in the prequels, like Dooku, looking like a triangle. Like,
yes.
Let's stop.
An obtuse triangle too.
Let's stop pretending that these are ever going to be consistent. Like,
there's I mean, Dooku's head alone, the man is a human being, and his head again looks like one of the Easter Island skull, statues.
Yeah.
Like, just calm down, everyone. It's fine. Like, I'm amazed that we're just getting this.
Yes,
I
agree.
Boop stole my line. Boop stole my line.
There it is.
It's true.
It's fake and in space.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like Scotty said,
if you're
every single one of these starts with long time ago. Like, it's just
it's a fairy tale.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
There's all different shapes and sizes of people. Like, why can't there be different shapes and sizes of aliens and stuff too?
Yeah,
look at
that's
Orn
another thing I
Free
see people
Ta.
saying.
You're telling me that Orn Free Ta, Mitch McConnell looking ass is the same species as
he looks like the beast that ate
Cham
Mitch McConnell.
Syndulla.
But yes, no.
Cham Syndulla looking like a smoldering hot snack.
Yep.
And that is supposed to be in the same species as Orn Free.
Right.
There's no justice in the galaxy.
Hey, come on, body positivity. Body positivity.
Yes, that's right.
Important.
You know what? I was thinking this too. When watching this episode, there's a couple of things that they got right with this one, at least to me. The maximum weird, like how weird it keeps getting. Like, I love when Star Wars gets weird. Pikes are weird looking, right? The Tusken culture was what I thought was weird at first, but it's actually quite beautiful. Like, take these weird aspects and kind of turn them on their head. The two Hutts kind of rubbing on each other. Not a fan of that.
Well, please
Those
don't.
are twins.
Please don't.
That's
put it like
weird.
That, please.
That's
They're
weird.
Lannisters. They're Lannister huts.
The Folgers huts.
Yes, and then
yeah.
Yes, the Folgers huts. Even better. I love this. Well, he's like rubbing the hamster on him too, and the hamster's like biting at his hand. Like, give me weird. And then they do give us weird with this show. Mandalorian gave us some weird stuff too, but this has been like the peyote nightmare. Yeah. Oh my god! Like
this show
all
is
weird.
What I wanted from this show, and it's delivered way more than what I wanted. And also,
of course,
what you want doesn't matter.
Yep.
That's really important to accept.
Yes.
But what I've always hoped was that this show would be the first 30 minutes of Return of the Jedi stretched out as a show, and that's what it is. It's got music. It's got puppets.
Weird.
It's got weird shit. It's got monsters.
Yes.
It's like,
How good is the music?
Oh, the music.
Too, by the way. I'm sorry. Like
So
even in
good.
this episode.
Oh my gosh, this episode, the music, it was like it blew my mind. Like,
yep.
I often don't have moments where I'm watching something and the music catches my attention, and I think like, oh,
right,
this is good. But that happened to me 3 times during this one episode.
Yes,
3 times.
One of the best parts, and I'm sure we'll
It was
talk
so
about it
good.
in a much longer form later, was when they were forging the gaffy stick. I was like, that music is just beautiful. It's like a little bit of the what's it called? My music words are going away, but it's got a little bit.
Like
there's a lot of choral
influence
to it, doesn't it? Like,
yep.
Which I mean, most of this score has like choral elements to it with the way they have this. I love the voices and everything.
Yes.
Amazing,
phenomenal, and also it made the meme come true of Cantina band theme like abruptly stops.
Yep,
like,
it did. Brilliant. The drums, man. The drums got me. And to kind of talk about the weird thing before we move on from that. The droid conductor was one of the weirdest things. It's like it's like spinning its hand. It's
dude, it's
quickly.
like it had the little turny thing like an old train, like a steam train.
Yes,
and everything,
yes.
like the whole. I love that they were going like, yeah, this is technological, but it's like this is the effing steam train, man.
It's nonsense.
This is an effing steam. This is an effing steampunk locomotive. Okay, we're just going with it.
That droid looked like something that could have been in the bathhouse and Spirited Away. Just like all of it, like the way that it's moving in all these directions, like
it's just weird.
Yeah.
Did it look? They've done a lot of really almost stop motion-esque things, and that was the most stop motion I feel of all of them. Like, it felt old school, but still it felt right. Like it felt good. It didn't take me out of it or anything, but I loved all of that. And also that droid, I just realized on my watch through right before I came on here. It says it says Doki Oki when it crawls away, like the little when they tell the rickshaw droid in Attack of the Clones, like wait here, it goes Doki Oki. It goes
no.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought that was
junkie.
great when it just crawls away.
Great.
I hope that droid shows up like reprogrammed as like an assassin or something.
That's what I was thinking, because I mean, we got
did it leave its lower half behind? Like, I'm sorry.
No,
like,
I think it was
no. It folded up.
Oh, okay.
I
was like, I love it. Just like opens the window, like, nah, I'm out, man.
So good.
Now we know they're okay. So obviously they're running spice from somewhere to someone. Now that's the one thing I'm kind of lost on. Is it to Bib Fortuna? You think? Because that's who's taken over. That's who's taken over Jabba's palace at that point. So I was hoping we'd get more, I guess, answers on that one, at least to me, because I was very interested to see where they were going. And are they going to get another train and come back? Because the only way they can is if they pay the Tuskens. Was it like physically pay them? What was the exact phrasing?
I think it was.
They were to pay a toll.
A toll, yeah.
You to pay a toll, and for every life, it will be repaid tenfold.
Wow.
And I think that they are like
so powerful.
Clearly, they're not a credits-based society, so maybe they'll bring the water cart around every now and then. I don't know. Something like that. Some sort of arrangement. Give them better blasters, maybe, or it'll be interesting to see how that happens.
My buddy Josh from Hollow Chronicles, he messaged me, or he messaged a group chat that we're in, and he said, "What do you think of this?" And I never made this connection, obviously, until he pointed it out. But in Chapter 5 of The Mandalorian, whenever Din is trying to get access to the Dune Sea, he had to trade on the binoculars for that, right? And I'm like, oh, I was like, that's pretty clever, because that would have been 5 years later. So that he is getting access to the Dune Sea. So I'm like,
because of the system that Boba set up.
So is that
Yeah.
part of it
Yeah,
now, right? I'm like,
that's
that
interesting.
that's really clever. And I'd imagine, that's how they get Din involved
Well,
with the story. Not so early on, but later, I mean.
Respectful boys pay the toll. I'm just saying that respectful boys respect other people. That's all I'm saying. So
Gotta make
Din
it
and
control.
Boba, they're respectful boys. So
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
great. That's great.
But yeah, like
Toll,
that's
exactly.
really interesting if that's like a cultural change that happens on Tatooine, right? It's like
Mhm.
everyone
Yeah.
comes to this understanding that if you encounter the Tuscans in the sands, you have to give them
Pay a
something
toll.
of value. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
Brilliant.
eventually the Tuscans are gonna have like their own sort of like Pawn Stars
See?
responses. Like, nah, best I can do is 100 yards. You all the way in. Not for that.
Oh man. Things they
People are
can't
lining
use.
up around like the cantina to get just to trade shit for him. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my god.
Well, it's cool
Well-
though too. Oh, what would you want to say, Jerry? Because I want to say how
Well,
much they fleshed out these characters. These
No.
Tusken
Go
characters.
on with that because I was gonna go straight to the dream sequence and ask you guys a question of something you thought. But go on.
So after
I'm excited to talk
obviously
about
seeing so much of the Tuscan culture these past couple of, I guess, weeks, days, or even including last year, with Din Djarin and Cobb Vanth bringing them together, I think this honestly has become one of my favorite fleshing out of anything from the OT. Obviously except for the prequels, but like when you take just a character that has been established as being a savage, as being someone that's obviously a nuisance to Tatooine, and you make them the focal point, and you make them the center of attention, you make them everything that you didn't expect of it. And it was kind of a slow progression, obviously, from chapter 5 and chapter 9 of The Mandalorian. Now here we are fully into it. How do y'all feel about that? Because that, I think it's one of the most beautiful things Star Wars has done in a long time, like in a very long time.
I think it's very beautiful. And I think it's resonant as well because culturally, we're coming to this moment where we are recognizing that the humanity of marginalized and indigenous populations has been discounted up until now.
Yes.
And so it's so fitting for the times, right? It's like we
Yeah.
feel like, okay, so back then when these stories were originally being told, it was appropriate, or people thought it was appropriate to portray this society as being primitive, as being uncivilized, as being, animals that deserve to be genocided.
Yeah.
And so it really
Yeah.
echoes like these cultural attitudes. And so I think it's really one of the things that makes this episode so powerful is that it's very resonant with where we're coming to as a culture now, where we recognize that to a certain amount of cultural relativism is important, and that we have to recognize that even though certain societies or cultures don't take the same shapes as the dominant one and don't value the same things as the dominant one, it doesn't mean that they're inherently without value and that they deserve to be eliminated.
Right.
So it like echoes this change that's happening in the current.
Just let M keep going. Yeah. No, we're not going to top any of that. That's beautiful.
Go back on him.
No,
I mean, I can say more.
no, please do. No, please
so,
do.
I mean, I mean, and obviously it's very important that Tem, is a member of an indigenous society as well.
Yes.
Right.
Himself, because, I think this could very well have fallen into the Avatar trap.
Exactly.
Like big strong guy comes to primitive culture and solves their problem and tames their big bird.
Right.
Like the whole train heist, it really could have fallen into that. But it's like as you're watching it and you remember, I think the inclusion of the Haka at the end of the episode was really important to remind people of that. Right?
Mhm.
It's like this is a meta storytelling device. It's supposed to portray like both the richness of this culture, like within the world of the story, within the hermetically sealed world of the story, it shows that that this culture is flourishing, and that it has joy, and that they have passed through this hardship and they've entered like a new era, with the celebration, with the elimination of the train and with the establishment, the decision like that has been taken that they are entitled to authority over over the
land.
Dune Sea,
Yeah.
and that they are entitled to tribute and to, getting to benefit from some of the wealth on the planet that they inhabit. So I think that the portrayal of the celebration at the end was really important for that, because that kind of puts the little wax seal on it, right? That's what you do. Like, that's why stories end with celebrations. So that's why they end with like bonfires, weddings, parties, musical numbers. Because the it's like the tension in the story happens, and then there's an event, and then there's a celebration to mark the event, right? Because that's how human brains work.
Exactly, but it doesn't take away from Boba's journey either, which some stories get lost in the sauce. They get lost in the message rather than the actual story. And the message and the story, for at least this episode, 100% in sync. Because we see Boba's journey, obviously from being someone who probably had great disrespect for them to now being a part of them. And the dressing of the robes was absolutely beautiful.
Gosh, that was
that was
beautiful.
epic.
It is so much of like this like retroactive like contextualization of, because now you're going to see Mandalorian and you're going to see the black robe underneath the armor, and how he has taken now with him the legacy of his father, who was a foundling. So there's elements of now it's the cyclical nature of myth. Like, he is now a foundling among the Tuscans, as his father was among the Mandalorians, and he's able to bring now both of them with him, which is why I'm really hoping, and I don't know, because I don't know what he had with him in Slave 1 at the end of Mandalorian season 2, but I'm dying to see present day Kingpin crime lord Boba with the gaffy stick. So like with the armor and the gaffy stick. I'm really hoping we get to see that. And I think that everything that Em said is just like so eloquent and just incredibly insightful and beautiful, and I don't have enough accolade words for it. It's so true. And when you go back to, there's sort of like a two-pronged thought. Like, on the surface level, on the I made this for 12-year-olds level, there's the whole idea of, I always go to Return of the Jedi when Han meets the Ewoks. He's shoving the spear out of his face, and he's like, he's Han about it, and we love Han for it. And then Han learns, as everyone else learns, as the audience learns. Luke has already learned that lesson because of Yoda. He's already learned, judge me by my size. He's already learned not to judge a book, as it were. And you can tell, and Hamill plays it perfectly. Mark Hamill's face is like looking around, like he's assessing the situation, which is how he's able to say, oh, I understand. This is a theistic thing. This is a God thing. And he's able to, through 3PO, connect with them. So there's, it's always had that sort of language in Star Wars. We see this with Obi-Wan and the Gungans, and like, you're a symbiote circle. You must understand this. What happens to one of you will affect the other.
The best.
How all of this has grown over time to now represent the moment, like you're saying, and like the original trilogy is Vietnam. It's the generation growing up as the kids of the World War II generation. It's post Watergate. It's all those things. Palpatine is Bush. Newt Gunray is Newt Gingrich. Like, that was that era. And now what is this era? And that's what Star Wars has to ask now. What's happening now? The land back discussions, finally recognizing and undoing the heinous legacy of things that America has put on pedestal, like Columbus and things like that. So the entire idea of us finally undoing, you must unlearn what you have learned, in terms of what America is, because Star Wars is an American export, even though it's made in England. I don't want to offend anyone in the chat, Charlie. There's that sort of that battle with imperialism, that battle with appropriation.
See, and that's what he says right there. I was going to bring that up. It's brilliant.
The Empire, they're back. Yes, it's 100% true.
Oh man,
because he understands now what it's like to be pushed to the fringes in that way, especially given the fact that he's hanging out with Din, who's the outcast of a fringe group, Fennec, who he rescued from the seas of rebirth, which we'll talk about. Which
I think we're going to see that. I hope we see that.
I think so too. I think we'll see it too. Fennec is, and that is fate. Sometimes steps in to rescue the wretched. Like,
oh man,
the Tuskens are fate. They are. Yeah. He sees them as pure, which is why he's telling them, like, your warriors. Why do you hide? Like
Yep.
he's trying to inspire in them a pride, but the story doesn't go beyond that. It's communicative. It's about pride. It's about him connecting with them warrior to warrior, but very wisely in the tame their big bird thing that you were saying with that, with Fern Gully, with Pocahontas, with all these things.
But also,
he never beats the chieftain. Which
No,
is the important thing.
They also play with the idea of, you know, how when colonialists came to America, obviously they brought over some good things like horses, you know, and horses being a native thing, you know, the natives took the tools that the colonials had brought over, right? And I was thinking how crazy it was. There's that one shot of the Tuscan who's like working on the speeder, and then in the background, Boba's training with the warrior again. I'm like, that is like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, but not in a cynical way. It's so subtle. It's so visual. They don't mention it. They don't say it out loud. And I don't know. I feel like even I can say this, the prequels, unfortunately, you know, was a lot of say this out loud. And a lot of it was also really subtle. But when you watch something like this and it's a TV show and it's got so many themes that are so deep and rich already that you see a shot like that, and you're like, okay, so now they're getting acclimated to Boba's culture and who he is and what he represents. It's just, I love it. It's how you do this story and hopefully how you teach kids to, you know, see the world, right? I mean, that's ultimately the goal. Is hopefully a child will watch this, or someone growing up will watch this and go, wait a minute, okay, so having to be a stranger in a strange land, having to experience these things is not necessarily a bad thing. Take advantage of it. These people's culture is very unique and very different, and it can help you.
What did Padme say about their own conflict? I mean, the core conflict of the prequels is that this represents a failure to listen. That's a theme statement for the entire saga. That's the entire thing. So many of the things that are said about the saga, about the nature of conflict, represents a failure to listen. Go all the way to the last Skywalker movie with Zori. They win by making you think you're alone. Go all the way to the stuff with Anakin and the Tuscans and how he has taken his personal rage and imparted it on a people as if they are a monolith, as if that was not with no context, which is important. Like, do we think that Shmi Skywalker was a bad person? Of course we don't. Do we think that even bad people deserve to be strung up and tortured? Not usually. Do we think that do we think that Owen Lars and Klieg Lars, like, who knows? Like, the Larses could have been at war with this tribe for generations, but that gets lost. That gets lost over time. Blame the fact, like, colonizers stick around so long that they forget that they showed up uninvited, and that's a big thing. That's a huge thing. Yeah, maybe you are like, why are they attacking my farm? Because you didn't live when you're that honestly, Frozen 2. Frozen 2.
That's don't you good. Even start with me,
Frozen
buddy.
2 does that, where they're like, what's the problem? And then it's like, your grandfather was a dirty colonizer.
Your grandfather is a bastard. So we're gonna have to do an episode sometime on just Frozen 2. I'm sorry. That is one of the best.
It's gonna be me, Scotty,
princess movies
and Scotty's daughter doing movie nights on Patreon. We're watching Disney.
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing.
She has great thoughts. She has great thoughts.
Oh, man.
So, Jerry, I kind of wanted to lead. This is the last thing maybe we can even bring up, and there's some things we can obviously talk about Boba's rebirth, but this peyote dream he has of the lizard, you know, and there's one thing that no one else has said that I think I kind of want to say it before you get into your moment, but obviously when you look at studies of psychology or anything dealing with, you know, how our brain works. Now, people always use the term lizard brain, but I love the idea that he actually, you know, your motor skills are all turned off. Everything cognitive is turned off. And they actually let a lizard, you know, penetrate his brain.
He actually had a lizard brain. Yeah.
He had his lizard brain is what drove him to kind of, you know, to this realization. Literally, it allowed him to walk and let his mind be free. And of course, I've never, you know, taken any sort of drug and done anything like that. And I don't know what it's like to be on peyote or ayahuasca or whatever spice lizard
celebration, buddy.
Yeah,
celebration.
I know, right? California. But
it's gonna be a hell of a time.
But you know, you're watching it, and for the very first time in Star Wars, you're like, this guy is actually getting stoned. And also the part that actually kind of made me laugh out loud was when he looked at the Tusken. I'll pull myself big. The Tusken straight up just does this. The classic, like, is your first time drinking? The Tusken goes, and then like just like did a slight nod, and then like his face is like, I'm like, yo, I'm like, they're doing this.
The
But,
Tuskens are watching him walk, and he's like a mile out from the camp, and they're like,
he's like,
first timer.
First timer, yeah. But man, it's so crazy, the visions itself. I mean, I feel like you wanted to say something, Jerry. Come on, go on your moment.
No, well, I mean, all I wanted to say is just that this show has not missed with any of its levity for me. And I adore how hilarious and adorable it is when he's like, I have a gift for you, and he goes, a gift? Why? And then but he's like, he opens the thing, it's the little lizard. He goes, a lizard?
You wrote it down.
He goes, thank you, I will let it guide me. And then because he's like trying to like be like respectful and stuff. He's like, it's a guide. Thank you, I will let this lizard guide me. And then he like blows the stuff in his face.
The dust in his face.
Jumps in. And then I love when he goes, I'm sorry, I think I swallowed it. Like
it's incredible. Like,
it's so human. It's so it's just I love every bit of it. And that's all I wanted to say. I'm just a dialogue guy. I think that stuff's fun. So
it's phenomenal.
That was like a perfect like moment to remind you that he's still an outsider to a certain extent.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like if he had been raised in that culture, he would have known what the lizard was as soon as he saw it.
Yeah, he's still an outsider.
Better prepare my nostril.
And for them,
yeah, for real.
Right.
For
Flip
them,
it up.
you know, it's them effectively saying that they're not going to they're not giving him a sanitized version of what their experience is. It's not going to be
he's a respectful boy.
Yeah, you killed the Spy Kids 2 monster, and you brought us its head, and you did your whole thing. But you are going to get the experience. It's not you're not going to be able to create your version of it. You're here. Like it's and I think a lot of the times white people love to, you know, they'll take what I'll take what I want from that experience and that
cafeteria multiculturalism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. I don't know if you made that up. You can take credit for it. Incredible phrasing. Yes. And I love just the whole idea of, I was saying this to Tori, my favorite Star Wars ideas are the ones where if you just take a pen or a pencil and write the idea down in the shortest sentence phrasing that you can do, and just really separate your fandom from it and just read it. And this would say, lizard goes in his nose, triggers vision quest. That sentence is so ridiculous.
It's amazing though.
That it's perfect. And I think that some of the best Star Wars ideas are like that.
Yes, it's weird. It's go back to the weird factor, you know, and the vision itself is incredible. Him obviously walking through the desert, you know, being very disoriented, and then seeing a tree among water, right? Not only one tree, but two, one very small and then one very big. And I just love it. I think
but there were two trees. Sorry,
two.
I'm gonna have to watch this stuff again.
And the thing is, to me, it's like, what's Boba's legacy? I mean, his legacy truly has been just being a badass. That's all it is. Just being a badass bounty hunter. But this rebirth, this change, you know, seeing Kamino and Tatooine opposites, right? Completely opposites. It's this
opposites,
huge...
but also the same. Two C's.
Exactly.
Places that he was reborn. And I say this, that people haven't heard the Octo Radio episode yet, but I say this in there. I want to preface what I'm about to say with the understanding that a lot of mythological interpreting, you know, was obviously done before conversations that we are having now and should have now.
Sure.
So when I say all this rebirth stuff, I want to say it with the caveat that, of course, we understand as people now that wombs, uteruses, embryonic fluid, all that stuff is not the prerequisites of motherhood.
Yes.
But in the classical myth interpretation, the whole idea that he comes from a place that is not just an ocean, but is thousands upon thousands of embryos in these pods. It's constant birth.
Right.
And he comes from that place, but he's seeing dad leave over and over and over until dad left permanently.
Yeah.
And he has to get past that. He has to get past his own death and rebirth. So it's this constant cycle of the clones and Jango and me and what I am and Boba Fett. He's in the classic armor in this vision because he's putting that to bed. Before he can actually don the black Tusken robe. So it's just like, this is, to me, it's not even in the same, like, it's not like, you know, I've heard people say like, oh, it's kind of like Luke in the cave or like Rey with the saber.
Not really.
It's like up there.
Yeah.
Like, it's in its own category, but it's like equally beautiful. Like, I was so moved. And it's, again, like, Steph Green, I don't know you. I think you're great. You're a genius. I just have to say that. Like,
So
I think
go ahead.
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
M, you go.
What I was going to say, like, this is what I've been thinking pretty much ever since I saw the episode, which is that, you know, I know that a lot of people, people whose opinion doesn't matter very much, but a lot of them, were very disappointed, you know, to see Boba being more than just a tough guy. And, you know, I feel like this part of the story is our story explanation for why he's not that way.
Yes.
Because
100%.
it's like we don't often get stories like this. It's like when we first, and I think it's one of the reasons why, you know, it was important in the first episode to see that Boba's overarching behavior is respectful. Like, he says the word respect, you know, and he shows a commitment to like being level-headed, merciful. You know, he's interested in justice and in being righteous, and to being judicious with the use of force. It doesn't mean he's not skilled at the use of force, but he is judicious with how he uses it, and he's prudent in how he uses it. And I feel like all of those qualities have come to him. Like, I think the fanboys are not entirely incorrect. You know, there is that aspect of Boba Fett where he is, you know, a badass. He's like a badass warrior, bounty hunter, you know, all that stuff. He's very tough. And yes, you know, like a lot of his character prior to this was defined by those qualities. But when we meet him in Book of Boba Fett and he's showing these qualities of prudence and mercy, he has come to those qualities through having a spiritual transformation, which was his mission quest.
God. Very well said.
Absolutely.
And especially in terms of, you know, how do you make me care about Boba Fett? Because I didn't care about him before. I'll be honest with you. I thought he was cool. I thought everything he represented was kind of cool. He was the cool guy in the back. And then we're getting things now about this character. And obviously in chapter 14, when he showed back up, we were like, that's Boba Fett. What? But now we're getting a deconstruction. He had his pilot episode then. I said that last week. That was the Boba Fett pilot. That one. The one that happened in 2020. That was the pilot episode. This, what we're getting is why you should care about this character. Why do you relate to him? You know, and it's weird. It's doing a Star Wars trope of fatherhood, but I almost think anyone can place themselves in this because it's not only fatherhood, it's identity, right? His identity. He doesn't know who he is. For a long time, he thought, you know, obviously in Clone Wars, he was a little badass. He wanted to be the coolest guy around. He wanted to have nothing but bad things. But here we are now. He's having this realization that maybe, you know, torturing someone is not an ethical way of doing it. He learned from the Tuskens.
He's always had. I don't think he's ever really been much of a torturer. If I'm trying to think back through all the canon stuff right now, but like he, even back in the day, you know, like there's the episode of Clone Wars where he has like he can't shoot a guy, and Aura Singh takes the blaster from him. And
I mean, he's never had it in him. He was a child, literal child.
Right. But I just
he was a child that was driven by, I mean, it's about what is sustainable. You know, he was a child driven by grief and rage. And grief and rage are just not sustainable. I mean, that's part of the metaphor of Star Wars. Like, he's not a Force character, but when you look at the Force, the Sith and the Darksiders are always in the pursuit of eternity. You know,
Yes.
whatever version of that is for them, especially Palpatine, it's immortality. But he can't achieve that because he can't let go. Boba Fett on the peyote quest is Boba Fett letting go. That's why you get a version of him in Mando that will say, "Let's put things down, have a chat." Like, he was not going to have a chat. I mean, in canon, he's done some heinous things. I mean, he worked for Vader, you know, to the point where Vader had to tell him to chill when we first met him.
This is true.
So
yeah.
You know, he's that guy, but it's about why is this man in search of peace in so many ways? Like, it's such a battle for the soul in a certain way. And I've drawn the comparison between one of my favorite moments in Mandalorian season 1 is in chapter 3, the Sin, Deborah Chow's first episode. And when when Din says to the armorer, "My armor has lost its integrity. I may need to begin again." That is, you know, for the kids watching, literal, letting you know where he's at. He's going to get an upgrade. But thematically speaking, that's the I'm changed. This baby I don't understand just saved me. I've been at the feet now of this thing I don't understand, this power I've never seen. I've received mercy that I don't feel I deserve. I need to begin again. And it's during those scenes at the forge that he deals with his trauma.
Exactly, just like Boba
Fett is in the back to tank. His body's being put back together. He does need to
synergy, baby.
He's being healed. That is armor being put back together.
Oh,
and
man.
also in Mando, the forge looks like a cathedral. Like it looks like a sacred space.
Yes.
And the armor acts like a spiritual leader. I mentioned this in our roundtables. You know, like it's very much like, I believe it was very intentional to have a vaulted ceiling for the armor's forge.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
See,
Yeah,
and this
got, like, these totems, like the skull out front and everything to signify the archway door, and like just like all these different things of trying to, and even like, you know, small details just in her design, like Brian Mattias, his design for the armor's costume, like the fur pelt and everything over it that like harkens back to a different time, and the way that her helmet's different. All of that stuff tracks into the show, even though you don't have a character like that in the present. You have the chieftain in the past. You have this ability to good nice Hosier reference there, Boop. You have this where Jabba was, and something I brought up in our episode 1 review. Jabba in the 80s was this fun George idea of what if the dragon in the castle was also a gangster.
Yeah,
but now the dragon's been slayed by the warrior princess. There's no more dragon in the castle, and you could see almost Jabba's bedroom sort of swallowing Boba. And he has to go back to those moments of escaping the Sarlacc to be able to. This is
understand
bigger than
it.
Me. This is you have to you have to escape the belly of the beast. You know, you have to go down into hell. Like it's all of that stuff.
One thing I wanted to say too, when you were comparing the forging of Din's armor, you know, Boba Fett with the gaffy stick being forged was incredible. But one thing I realized when you were saying that was the fact that when Din and Boba met, you know, this Beskar belongs to a Mandalorian. And what was Boba's response? I don't even remember. Back in chapter 14.
Well, he says that he immediately brings up Django. You know, it was my father.
Yes.
Django.
Yes.
It's at the end that he brings up the specifics, like he was a family and fought in the war.
So the reason I say that is, like, obviously, you know, Boba is now a foundling to that society, but it shows that Boba does not really follow. He follows a creed of respect, but he just got accepted into a whole new society that should not have accepted him. Obviously, it just in every situation, but he is now like Din, you know, he had to accept this new reality of Din had to accept the baby, his role as a protector of the baby, just as Boba's having to accept his, I guess, newfound family. It's so weird.
You know
the found family thing comes right back around.
I would also argue Boba Fett is also like Grogu. You know, he's also the one being cared for. He is the broken innocent. He is, because people forget, like, all Star Wars titles are multifaceted. Every single one. Every single one has layers. The Mandalorian is about, of course, Din Djarin. It's about the creed of the Mandalorian. It's about what does it mean to be a Mandalorian. But also, Grogu is a Mandalorian by creed. He is in the clan of two. That's what the Mudhorn signet is. He gets the pendant at the end of season 1. We think of him as this Force-sensitive baby, but Grogu is the first Mandalorian Jedi since Tar Vizsla.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in a sense, he's about to be trained. We'll see how that goes.
Sure.
But he is all of those things. He's a melding of cultures because of nourishment, because of being nurtured, because of being protected. And Grogu also has to, as we've seen, Grogu also has to learn as much of as a 50-year-old baby can learn to not lead with rage, to be able to lead with openness. And that's the point of Ahsoka saying he has to choose. You have to put him on the Seeing Stone at Tython. That way he can make these choices. Because before that, he was quick to choke someone out, regardless of how we feel about that character. And to choke someone out because it was all defense, rage. I'm scared. I've been through stuff. We know now how much repressed trauma Grogu has because of Order 66 in the fall, and maybe one day we'll see that story and I'll cry. But it's so interesting to me though that at the sight of this baby's pure expression of openness and a call for help, which is at the center of Star Wars, is just help those in need. That's Battlefront 2. Like, why'd you help me? Because you asked. That Luke moment permeates this Grogu moment, and Grogu, Din, Boba Fett, Fennec Shan all converge at this holy place, and they've all sort of shown up because they are the wretched. That's what Star Wars is. Rey, the scavenger, Finn, the child soldier, Boba Fett, the clone turned killer. Like, that's what all these people are. The scrum rats, Han and Kira. Like, even Leia, who is a child of privilege and royalty, is still the smuggled away baby of a mass murderer. Star Wars is all about the wretched rising up. And that's why when people say, like, it's cool, it's like, yeah, he's cool, but it's like, could you try a little harder?
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the coolest people have the best history, honestly. It's just kind of part of it. And I don't know, this
like you, Scotty.
Yeah. Can't stand you.
Right.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness though, I'm so happy that in only 2 episodes we can have conversations this deep. And I'm not joking when I say that, because obviously you can watch episodes 1 and 2 of season 1 of Mando, or even episodes 1 and 2 of season 2 of Mando. But the conversations and the themes were there. But I think, at least to me personally, the themes have been much deeper, much more impactful with this one show than it has been quite some time. At least that's
definitely
how I feel.
a different approach. And sort of like my last overall thought is, we all want, and we should want, and it's a good thing that we're getting more voices. Leslie Headland as a queer woman coming in doing a Star Wars show with a non-binary lead. You got Deborah Chow, an Asian woman leading Obi-Wan. We're taking all of these steps outside of this show. Of course, this is still a show run by 3 dudes in their mid to late 40s. Now, with that said, they are in a very privileged position. And I am glad that what could have been 3 dudes in their middle-aged 40s fulfilling childhood fantasies turned into 3 dudes in their mid to late 40s saying, wow, what is it really like to get that far in your life and then have to reconcile with who you are?
Exactly.
Like, this feels like 3 dudes, Favreau, Filoni, and Rodriguez, sitting around and saying, oh God, like, you don't know who you are as an adult.
They've probably gone through that. And that's the hardest thing about being a creative is like, what? It's my responsibility now, and George's responsibility back in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s to tell his stories. Like, there's something to be said about that. It's in the creators, opportunity and duty to help progress the themes of Star Wars, but also the themes of what we should see in modern day television. And it's the reason why, obviously The Mandalorian was so successful, and it's the reason why it's impacted so many people. But this show's gonna be one of those shows that if you don't put in what you want to get out of it, then it's your fault. Sorry, you can't. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be served everything constantly, which is the problem with
this. Steve had a zinger.
Exactly.
Steve had a zinger.
Steve's right.
I wanted to bring it up, but that's the right moment right there to bring it up. Yes,
that's it. And that's the thing that people don't get about Star Wars, is that they can watch it over and over and over again. They can say, I connect with it. They can get mad about things like Luke's portrayal and say, Luke was my hero. I identified with Luke. But the problem is that they can say I identified with Luke and any character, insert whatever character you want, but not really do it. Because if you really identified with these stories, and if you really put your heart into them, you would realize that Star Wars is the Dagobah cave. What's in there? Only what you take with you. That's every single time. If you go into the theater thinking about behind the scenes drama, if you sit down on Disney Plus thinking about, are they going to give me a cameo? If you sit down and you start talking about, what you feel about what you wanted, it's not about what you want. That's not what criticism is. Criticism is about what's on screen and how you feel about what was given. What you want is completely irrelevant. If I got everything that I wanted, lots of shows and movies would be different, but they wouldn't be the shows and movies that they are.
Yes, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be what you needed, because it's not just what you want, it's what you need, right?
That's
and
right.
like so much
Singular
of this
vision's going to
If
get
you
old
can't-
eventually.
If
too,
you
Yes,
can't have
right?
the one you love, baby, love the one you're with.
the one you're with.
Hey, hell yeah.
I think there's lots of different ways to approach engaging with a story, and I think that sometimes self-insert is a valid way of engaging with stories. But it becomes a problem when you try to approach every story from that angle, or you expect to
Exactly.
be able to have that every time.
God, it's just it's one of these things now where I'm so happy that Star Wars, obviously there's some spoon-fed parts of Star Wars, but I'm so happy Star Wars is still interpretive, because let's be real, it gets kind of scary when things are so cut and paste and they're just the same themes over and over again. And I would say thankfully these TV shows have had a wonderful opportunity to flesh this out more. See, look at this. Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Thank
that
you.
man.
Thanks,
Thank
Papa.
you.
Thanks, Papa Dave. Love you,
It's
Thank you,
buddy.
Trapper Wolf.
Trapper Wolf. It's
Love you.
just, it's awesome. And you know what? We've been going for an hour and a half now. I think that was the allotted time for these people that we guessed. Jerry, what do you want to add to this? Look at this sweet.
I just want to know, what do you guys think that the Jawas around, like the Jawas around the tree during the vision, have to do with? Like, what do you think that that's something else that's going to be? Do you notice it? Because there's like kind of like a little bit of Jawa like whispers and stuff you can kind of hear.
Yeah.
And then when they actually showed the concept art, it showed a bunch of Jawas around the tree. So is that significant? Because they're another species that is indigenous to the planet, right?
I
think because they called the ones in Mando off-world Jawas.
Off-world Jawas.
So-
Yes,
yeah.
that's right.
They are
But,
indigenous there. I don't know if they're going to have an arc. I'm here for it. I would love that.
Sure.
Like
I
maybe
would
there's
love-
like bad
I
blood
would
between the
love
two,
to
because
get an
one
arc for every non-basic speaking species.
Well, if you think
Star Wars,
the Jawas are the opposite of the Tuscans, where they've embraced technology and they not only have they
Well,
embraced
it's like
it,
maybe
but they've taken advantage
they're-
of it
they're
and
obsessed with it.
selling it. Yes, they're obsessed
Yeah.
with it.
Well, and
Are we-
also they occupy space inside of Boba's mind because they scavenged his armor.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
Mhm.
took everything that he thought he
Right,
was
right.
away
That
from
could-
him.
That probably
They
could be a bit of
stole-
it too.
they
Yeah, that's
stole
probably
his
what it is,
father.
honestly.
they stole his father from him again.
Yep.
His father
Again.
died twice.
Oh man,
and
yeah.
I think that it's twofold. It's a double-edged sword.
Mhm.
They tie in with watching Dad leave again. Bye, Dad. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
And then that's what I figured he said.
Sure.
I'm hungry. Where's Omega? But then he went, and they are also about the repurposing and the recreation, because as Boba says, his words about fate stepping in to rescue the wretched are not just about him and the characters I listed on Tython. His loss is also the savior, is also the saving grace of Mos Pelgo and,
Yep.
and the redemption of Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That image.
what somebody is able to lose and how that affects the ecosystem around them and how that affects the emotional ecosystem around them, what's going on with different people. And then frankly, to put it in the most bare bones terms, Jawas, they just love finding middle-aged dudes laying in the sand.
Yeah,
Right.
Always goes well for
That's
them.
their bread and butter.
Always
Like-
goes well with them.
Another-
Oh, sweet, a
another W.
payday.
Another W.
It's really awesome that we can get this. And I think I kind of want to round this discussion on the very last moment of this show that actually made me tear up. The first time it didn't make me tear up, but watching the second time when they do the haka dance and how much that meant to Tim, I'd imagine, was incredible, because I didn't know what that was. I remember seeing a video like when I was in high school of people doing this traditional dance before a rugby game. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. And, your shallow thoughts that you have when you're, 17, you're like, oh, that's scary. I can see why they did that before war. But like seeing it now and having the Tuskens do it. And then it's really cool because you have to really think, did did the warrior end up teaching, Boba that I guess that movement, or was it something that he mimicked? I just just so cool. The moment was incredible around the fire. It was so atmospheric, and then the second the chief got in, I was like, yes,
it reminded me, well, because he does a little bit of that of the Hocket, right? At during I think the behind the scenes.
Yes, he does. Yep,
Mandalorian season 2, doesn't he? Like he's doing a little because they're talking about how it's like the Gothy stick is like,
and they put it in his fighting, those wide stances, and like the way that he's able to like do the turns on his waist when he fights and like backhand somebody. So yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, Em, you could probably speak to this way more eloquently than I can. I'm lost in the ginger ale right now. But it's just it's like the zenith of like the synthesis of this person with what's going on and like the actual peak of understanding. And then when you like, obviously we don't know what none of this is one-to-one, which we all are smart enough to know.
Yes.
But whatever this ceremonial haka in the Star Wars mythology is, it's battle, it's weddings, it's welcomings. I remember when Peter Jackson was posting videos from the filming of The Hobbit, they would do a haka at the film studio to welcome the actors. I think they had one on Thor Ragnarok and Thor 4.
They did.
Right. Yes, they did.
Nice. Taika had them on set to bring people in. So it's I want you all, the people that saved me, to not have to hide anymore and to embrace what you can be and to stand up. And then we want you, the person we just saved, to know that we appreciate and love you. Like, it's every note.
Yeah, it felt very reciprocal, and it felt like, I feel like it was a genius move to incorporate like Tim's culture so much in that scene, because it really gave this feeling of it's a moment that belongs to everybody on screen. Like it's not him being an outsider to their culture, and it's not him teaching them something. It's truly shared. It's a shared moment between equals.
Yes. And funny enough,
to all of them,
even as a viewer, you can have that same experience, because when we went in, our outlook on the Tusken Raiders have always been, I wouldn't say savages, but we just didn't understand them. And now everyone, even the viewer, has a mutual understanding of what these characters represent and what they even, have gone through. In that moment, the second they all put their gaffy sticks up like this, and it cuts, and then the theme comes in, and now the theme, weirdly enough, with the first episode, I'm like, oh, that's a great theme, but it echoes that whole entire moment we just saw. That theme, it's like eloquent. Oh, it's so well done.
The confidence and like the elegance and just the and the metatextual level of it, because Star Wars is a healthy amount of meta stuff going on in it. The fact that it ends with this reciprocal gesture of welcoming at the end of what really is sort of like this arc that started in chapter 5 of Mando. Then it was chapter 9 of Mando. And now it's all the way into this show. This is sort of the end of the Tusken introductory arc. Like you've known who we are for 40 years in pop culture. You knew us as the monsters that killed Vader's mom, and you knew us as the guys that beat up Luke. Now we have actually welcomed you and seen, and like it actually
literally,
and it's like
your preconceived notions all changed. It flipped.
So far, every episode is like ended on a moment that has been absolutely pitch perfect for me. Like the last episode ended with him drinking from the melon and going, and it just like cuts immediately. And just the way that this cuts at the perfect moment in the dance is like, it's been some of the best like endings of any Star Wars thing I've seen, like ever. Like both of them. So
satisfying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's funny, you watch this and you think to yourself, obviously I didn't know I needed it, right? And I think that's the beauty of this show so far is, I think a lot of people would have said maybe a year ago when this was announced, I don't know if we need a Boba Fett show, or we already know the mystery of Boba Fett. He came back in The Mandalorian, but now we're getting so much more of a character and a culture that I never knew I wanted, and it's just working for me. It's ridiculous how much it works. And I guess we can actually end on, what do you want to see next? What's next? What do y'all think's going to happen next? Because I have no clue. I hope we get more Gangster Story, but that's just me. Because that's the part, they left that on a 10-minute little moment, and we didn't get that much of it. So what do y'all think? What's next? Anyone?
Yeah, I definitely want more like weird hut stuff, like weird Folgers huts stuff.
Yes.
More Folgers hut. Hashtag Folgers hut.
And also I would love to see some Tuscan women.
Yes, yes. I think the
Because-
warrior is played by a woman, right?
Right.
But is
Yes.
she? Is it a woman on screen?
Here
Her
is the-
figure.
So
her
here's
figure
the
looks like it.
interesting thing is that if you look at the most recent, the Star Wars compendium of aliens,
Yeah.
so it has this interesting entry for Tuscans that says that, the men are traditionally the ones that go out and do the hunting and whatever, and the women stay home and raise children and keep house. It's very traditional gender roles, I guess, very patriarchal
Sure. Right.
society. But it says that the warriors get bonded for life to a bantha that is the same gender as them.
Ooh.
And the way it's worded implies that a warrior, someone with the role of warrior in Tuscan society, can be male or female.
There you go.
But there
Okay.
are
You know
women
what?
that break out of the norm.
Yes.
For what is
Right.
their norm.
That is amazing.
And that will also, if you think about that, will also make you very sad about the bantha that we saw die.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Look, I am
Yeah.
justice for banthas. I need to see a bantha gore the shit out of somebody.
Like a
At some
bantha.
One
point.
of the things I love,
Take a big bite. You got that big mouth.
one of the
Yeah.
things that I loved learning about banthas actually was that there are other, even though they're like most prominent, obviously in Raider society, there are other cultures on Tatooine, especially that keep banthas and use them for meat and for milk. But Tuscans are the only race that do not. They have a cultural taboo against
Oh.
eating the meat of a bantha or drinking its milk. Bantha in Tuscan societies are used as like beasts of burden and as mounts in battle, and I guess for companionship, considering that they get lifetime bonds with members of the
Right.
culture.
I love that so
Yeah.
much.
Isn't that cool?
Also, after
so
Mando
cool.
Season 2, my dream Star Wars career, because that's something that people get asked all the time. Like, if you were in the Star Wars galaxy, what job would you want? I want to be
Yeah.
Bantha dentist. The two
Yep.
I was gonna say like
the guy that just is
that's
like
what I think
brushing what a life. Like they're so
Amazing.
cute. I love them.
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean what's gonna come? I mean, I just don't even. I mean, there's the surface nerd stuff, of course. Like we've seen
Sure.
Chrysanthemum. Of course, I would love to see the big
Yeah,
one. I'd love to see
battle.
Kira. I would love to
Yes.
see
Uh-huh.
I would love to see her be not the Luke, like she comes in and mops up anything for this plot, but if it was like Boba Fett like has this victory and then it's like boom, she shows up at the end of the season or something like that.
Yeah.
But what I would like to see in the immediate, I mean, we know that goth biker girlfriend is coming.
Yes, God, my
Bless whoever you are, whoever
That's gotta be
you
next.
are. I want to see this character in any capacity, particularly as my wife. And then I would also like to see. I mean, I was telling Tori, I think that the dinner scene that has been in all the trailers is that Boba says we can't kill the twins, and Fennec, we can't. Boba and Fennec, I can't remember who says it. We can't kill the twins without permission.
Permission, yeah.
That makes me think that it's like, what do you have to go all the way to Nal Hutta to be like, can we off these two idiots, or do you have to get other crime lords?
That's
on
what I was going to
board?
say. Like, that's what I was thinking when I
Make
heard that
sure
line. I was
the-
like, permission from who exactly?
And it's like, is the dinner the scene where Boba's like, look, I hope you all enjoyed the mozzarella sticks. We need to kill. We need to kill these two.
These huts, man. I mean,
Gotta get rid of them. Gotta axe them.
Yeah, I think that might.
they're
be
all
it, 'cause-
curled together like some kind of Folgers huts. Like,
because again, like this is so many stories, and Star Wars is all these classic films, The Searchers, Seven Samurai, all the stuff that we know that it is, the story of Excalibur. But this adds that Godfather element. It's like one of the last classic movies that Star Wars hasn't done, and what is part of Michael's big rise to power is take care of all family
Cutting
business.
ties.
Yeah.
Like you have to tie the loose ends. And I think if this season ends with like a montage of the twins getting it, Chrysanthemum gets it, the mayor gets it, like everybody just around at Boba is like
In nombre padre, doing the Hail Mary. That's exact.
It would be just like the Ezio prayer when he kills someone in Assassin's Creed 2. And he's
Yeah.
So I don't know. Long-term predictions, I think it's either going to be a tragedy, like now you're too wrapped up in this and you've become something that your father would hate, or I think it'll end on a hopeful Star Wars note, and the season ends with Din showing up. I don't want him in the show until the very end, but because it's like Book of Boba Fett was at the end of his season. Now Mandalorian season 3 can be at the end of Boba season.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think Din shows up and says, "Hey, really nice resources you've amassed here. You should help us take Mandalore."
Sure. Yeah.
With everything you've built.
Long term. I love it.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And what about you?
Go.
I already talked about what I wanted to see.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I
am psyched though for Goth's girlfriend on a motorbike.
Yes,
that's
got to come next.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we might have to arrange custody, but like, no, just kidding. Like,
if we got to see Kira, it would be like my birthday. Like,
yes.
Oh man.
I'm so there for that. Although actually, no, the only thing that could make a Kira cameo better would be if they had Kira cameo and they cast Lady Gaga as her right hand.
How wild would that be?
Star Wars would be like
it would make sense. It would make sense.
Lady Gaga in Star Wars is one of those things where she's a great actress, but like just the energy, like I would love to ask her if she if only there was somebody that went to concerts and asked people if they like Star Wars.
Here we go. Come on. I have to get VIP tickets to see Lady Gaga, then that's just it.
We'll have to
Damn it. Fund me. Someone help me.
She's already said she loves Star Wars. She said
that's
it.
True.
She has said it. Okay, cool.
So
okay,
yeah, she's to be in it.
In it soon. My only prediction, y'all, because obviously we're not done with the Tusken Bulba. I think that story is done. I think he's going to leave the tribe, obviously, but there's a 5-year gap. I don't know how long he's with the Tuskens. Maybe he's with them for a long time. I don't know, but he has to find Finnick. He has to get the slave one back, and he has to steal it from Jabba's palace. Like, and we've seen shots of all 3 of those things, essentially. So I'm hoping we'll get more of that, and then we'll finally let the gangster story breathe a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a break. I love that every Wednesday morning you wake up and you don't know. You just don't know.
After episode 1, my big prediction was like, he's gonna become a part of this tribe, and the tribe's gonna get it, and that's what's gonna put him on vengeance. And then, but now that this has happened, I'm like, it would probably be an insensitive, like weird thing.
Yes.
He was the last. So like, I would actually love it if because they clearly trust him. He was like,
yes, 100%.
Hey, he's like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to take a blaster and a stick and I'll be back tomorrow. I think it would be cool if he said, I'm going to leave. It's going to be for a lot longer this time. I need to make the sands a better place. And I'm going to go seize power. And I promise you that one day you guys won't have to hide anymore.
Yeah.
I think that would be more beautiful than if they were all gunned, because them being all gunned down and him going on a vengeance thing is very Western, like basic. But I think that if the twins show up and they try to seize the palace, and it's all the Tuskens that help defend the palace in the present, like they've been waiting, and he calls them in, like
I know, he's badass. Give them the throne, make them in charge to a certain extent, Obviously, there's probably a speech barrier, but protocol joys are very useful. Jerry, any predictions?
Just this.
You gonna kiss?
But who?
Anyone? Just all of them. The peyote lizard. Peyote lizards. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Peyote lizard and sweat hamster.
Hamster.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
oh man,
I ship it.
The 2 Twi'lek servers.
Yes,
right.
I'm about that.
A workplace romance.
Yes.
Don't even get me started on them, okay? Like, I need to marry them like yesterday.
They're beautiful.
They're
Oh.
so gorgeous.
Stunning.
Well, look,
Absolutely
I guess we should
stunning.
get our plugs in before we close this show out. Obviously, Jerry and I will do our little things at the end. But Alden, where can people find you? Come on now. What's going on?
Yeah, you can find me personally at that Alden Diaz. You all know how to spell that. It's ALDENDIAZ. On Twitter and Instagram, doing a lot of Star Wars talking, and it's not going to stop. And then you can find me Octa Radio, a Star Wars podcast. That's 3 shows. Octa Radio proper, where I do interviews. Rewatch Between Worlds, which is all about Star Wars Rebels, and then the Mandatorian Creed, hosted by the incomparable, wonderful, beautiful, genius Tori Fox. And that is where we're doing all of the Boba Fett coverage for the season. And then I'm also on the 1 in 10 Film Club with Nikki Kumar and Reed Devaney. I make radio and stuff, and yeah, hit me up if you like.
Hit them up.
If you like themes.
If you like themes. long form discussions. Em, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me at 9:30. We're moving times, by the way. We've moved to a little bit earlier with the show, so we have a live stream. So I'm on the Pink Milk After Dark live stream, which is also a podcast that comes out. The audio comes out on Mondays, but the live stream is on 9:30 Eastern time on Fridays. Our YouTube channel is called Pink Milk Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Serving Pink Milk. You can find me on Twitter at Hutsleia, HUTTSLEIA. Ship who you want. All ships are valid. And also, I am also the rat that lives in the Rancor pit.
Yes, the rat that lives in the Rancor pit. And
That's
tomorrow
needs a kiss.
That's
tomorrow.
The rat, the Rancor rat, and the hamster.
The sweat gerbil.
Yeah, sweat gerbil.
I love these new characters: Rancor pit rat, sweat gerbil, and peyote lizard.
So good, so good.
And tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Standard, 8:30 Central, and 6:30 Pacific, you should tweet this out. Blackout Star Wars Eclipse. There's going to be another movement for that.
Yes, do that in the morning,
people aware.
please. Do it in the morning. Do it all through the business day when people are going to have their eyeballs glued to their Twitter accounts. It's very important. Please support us. We would really appreciate it.
Of course. And you know what? Since it's M's first time being here, I have to play an inaugural Bombadcast video.
Please
Are
do.
you ready?
Probably do.
Alden has been here before, and maybe Alden didn't get this experience, but I know Alden will appreciate the experience.
Oh, I'm going to love it anyway. Yeah, of course.
I think he might.
This is your wake-up call. Time to reach, go for it all. Culture stirs inside of me, and I know what I can be. Limit is the sky. Hey world, watch me fly. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Oh,
yeah!
Life
so
is
much
good.
going on. It's
Sorry.
a banger.
Now, You're My Present This Year will always be the best one.
You're my present this year. Oh, well, this has been a great Bombad night. And every ending of a show, we have the guests say, "Stay Bombad." Em, can you give us a good "Stay Bombad" with our new outro video, by the way? So, be not the first time, but one of the special times to get a new outro video. Em, let's hear a good "Stay Bombad."
Stay Bombad.
Yes.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Chucky. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share. What is it? Pasquale? It's a dream about a world where nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A sour's disregard, a broken
being gone for